everyone, thank you for joining me today. Welcome to this guided journaling session where we explore the mind and the spirit for self-alignment and awareness. This is a basic journaling session, meaning it's just you, me, your paper, and your writing utensil. I will be journaling along beside you, but feel free to stop the video at any moment if you need more time for reflection. This journaling session is going to focus on giving gratitude and reflection to the year of 2020. I know this year has been challenging, but also for many of us, it has provided space for growth, contemplation, and stillness. I encourage you to end the year on a high note and thank the past 12 months for what they were or for maybe what they weren't. But just extend your gratitude so that we can move forward into 2021 with an open heart and an open mind. Go ahead and write your heading at the top. I wrote goodbye 2020, hello 2021. I didn't do it in the video, but I typically like to put the date and the time in which I am writing. So you can do that if you want. Our first section is going to be called A Year in Review. Under this, I wrote focus of the year, achievement of the year, and a word inspired by the year. So go ahead and write those subheadings and then fill it in. For focus of the year, you can think of kind of your overall theme of the year, maybe where you put the most energy and maybe got the most return, or maybe where you're starting to draw a lot of your attention and efforts. For achievement of the year, I want you to think of something that you did this year that brought you the most satisfaction and fulfillment. Sometimes achievements, they are good, but they don't really fill the cup the way that other things do. So take a moment to think about that. And then for the last section, a word inspired by the year, I want you to think again back to that theme, the focus of the year. What's a word that came out of 2020 that you want to bring in with you to 2021? Moving on to our next section, this is called 3 things. So go ahead and give your paper that heading. I did a ... Each of these subheadings are going to start with the phrase 3 things. Underneath that, you can start your first subheading, which is going to say 3 things I/you did for me/you this year. I'm speaking in first person, but this is you first person. The next one is going to be 3 things I did for someone else this year. And the last subheading is going to say 3 things I did for the good of humanity this year. You can write that and go ahead and number your paper and then get started filling it in. I found the first section, 3 things I did for myself this year, to be kind of easy. And the second 2 sections, even though I know there are things, it's sometimes harder to pinpoint those things and, give yourself that credit for extending yourself to another person. Sometimes we don't like to do that, or like, oh, it's no big deal. And maybe it's not, but I think it's okay to reflect back on those deeds that you did and think about the satisfaction that it gave you, because you might find after writing through these that those last 2 sections are much more fulfilling and brought you much more joy than what you did for yourself. Maybe. Our third section is going to be called Learning. Go ahead and give your paper that title, and then underneath Learning, we are going to write Lessons I Learned This Year as our first subheading. I'm numbering my paper to 5 for each of these subheadings, but feel free to number it to whatever you want or keep it open. The next subheading is skills I practiced this year, 1 through 5, or however many. The third subheading is new projects I started this year. And the last subheading in this section is ideas I had this year. And so I wanted to create time for all of us to reflect on some projects that we started, some ideas that we have, and really explore our creativity, or just review the creativity that we had this year and see what we want to take with us into the next year. If there's any idea or project that you started or had this year and you want to continue working on it or pick it back up in the next year, I think that'd be cool. When thinking about these answers, you can make them as shallow or as deep as you want, and shallow doesn't have to be used there in a negative connotation, like skills that you practice. Maybe you practiced a language this year, or your cooking skills, or maybe you practiced forgiveness, So allow your answers to be whatever comes to your mind first. Or if you're someone who likes to be very meditative in your answers, you can do that as well. Whatever feels good. This is your practice, your time, and your space for reflection and growth. Our last section in reflecting on 2020 is going to be called saying goodbye. So give your paper that heading, make it decorative if you would like. And underneath that, we are going to have 4 lines, and they are all going to begin with thank you 2020 for. Okay? So the first subheading is going to say thank you 2020 for these moments of happiness. And if you would like to give yourself a number, you can do that. If you want to just give yourself a blank space, you can do that as well. The next one is thank you 2020 for these moments of learning. Same thing here. You can give yourself blank space, numbers, bullet points, whatever's good. The third one is thank you 2020 for these moments of growth. And our last subheading here is going to say thank you 2020 for the support or challenge from these people. With this subheading, I wanted to make space to give gratitude to the people who helped me through this year, but I also wanted to give gratitude to the people who really challenged me this year in either a positive or negative way. There were a few people, just thinking back, that they just caused me maybe a little bit of stress in some way, or a little bit of self-doubt. But I want to create space to thank them for that and not end the year bitterly. And I kind of had the same idea with the subheading of moments of growth. I kind of want you to think about the harder parts of 2020, and instead of focusing in on the negative emotions it brought or the challenging emotions it brought, think about how you grew or learned from that experience. And same with the one above, moments of learning. And to close out this section, we are going to write a letter or a note to 2020. So just some closing thoughts that you have, things you want to say, reflections, final reflections from the things that we wrote above, moments of happiness, moments of growth, inspiration, positive things the year brought us, but also think about the more challenging things that the year brought us, the moments of loss or sadness, frustration. The best that you can, I want you to try to write it from a frame of release or a frame of acceptance, knowing that we can pour it all out now, but then we are going to move forward with, again, that open heart, open mind. As challenging as this year has been, what have we, or what can we take away from it? What can we thank it for? You guys have probably grown so much this year, and so I really hope that through this session you're being able to reflect on that amount of growth and learning. So and at the end of every letter, I always like to write with love, with gratitude, sign my name, and give it a little heart. There it is. All right, moving on to 2021. I am titling the top of my paper, Welcome 2021. Whoa. The opening sentence to all of these prompts I am going to give you is this year, ... The first one is this year I want to focus on. Next one, this year I want to achieve. This year I want to explore. This year I want to begin learning. This year I want to continue learning. This year I want to connect or reconnect with. This year I want to let go of. And this year I want to feel ... Go ahead and fill those in. You can write as much or as little as you want. Thank you all again for joining me today. I want to make more videos like this in the future, so please let me know down below if you like something like this, maybe some ideas that you have for future journaling sessions. And I am curious what your biggest takeaway was from 2020, so if you have something to say, I would love to hear it or read it, so you can drop that in the comment section below. Before we close out this journaling session, the last thing that we are going to write is a letter or a note or a one sentence to 2021. Just kind of an intention that you have for the year or something that you want to say. I just wrote a sentence of intention. So take that in whatever direction you would like to go. Again, this is for you and only for you. As we head into the new year, do know I am wishing all of you a year of wellness and understanding, passion, connection, better communication, everything else. I really am wishing all of you the best. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you in the new year. Bye.